What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just want it all. Oh, what you know about me? I seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me?
Hey, y'all, welcome back to another episode of More Than a Title. As y'all see, man, I'm excited already. We already laughing. We've been joking behind the scenes. Welcome to another great episode of More Than a Title. I'm your host, as usual, Jared, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And I just want to say, start off how we normally do, man. Thankful and grateful. Thankful and grateful for all the opportunities, the love, the support we've been seeing and receiving across social media in real life. I could be in the store. Somebody hit me with I love what you're doing. I just got somebody posted like, yo, this is my brother, huge inspiration. So things like that really keep me going. And I just want to say thank you guys across every platform. Please continue to support, like, share, subscribe, comment. It keeps this thing going. We are a very nimble media company, and we're going to keep this thing going. And we never stop it. So you ain't got to worry about that. But your support helps accelerate this thing, and I'm grateful for everything. So you know what it is. And with that, I actually want to, before we introduce this queen and continue our Women's History Month celebration, I just want to give shout out to two kings, man. Two kings, one from Oakland, one from Newark, New Jersey, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan for their major win and what they did in Hollywood and what they represent. So, you know, we say a lot of times, I say this a lot, like people talk about the mountaintop, but they don't talk about the person you become in the climb, right? And what you have to sacrifice, what you have to go through, the disappointment, the letdowns, the roles you didn't get to the ones that were it. Right? Do you still continue when you doubt yourself, when you don't believe, when your friends don't believe, the person you may be with doesn't believe? All those things factor in, right? And so these brothers have been rocking with each other for about 20 years, and to see that brotherhood and to see what they've done, right? Go into the, starting off small, and not small, but they started off brick by brick and kept building, kept believing in each other. And bet on themselves with this movie and the business aspect. That's a whole nother pod, because what he did was masterful, and we're definitely going to touch that, at some point. But I want to say to those two brothers, congratulations. I love what you guys represent. And for anybody who saw that, just dream big, man. Because when we come from, that's all we got is the dream sometimes. That's all we got. So hold on to it. Dream big. Think anything can happen, because it can. Utilize the resources you have, because if God put it in front of you, you can use it, and it could get you to where you need to go. He's going to make sure. So you just got to have faith, and that's the hard part. That's the hard part. You know what I mean? Damn, I was cooking. But anything you want to add, Queen, before we give you your introduction? Anything you want to
listen? Say? I think you said it all. I think it really does come down to the journey, right? And certainly, I think we all can share in the fact that we have our journeys. Everybody has a journey. But certainly, we are so excited to see the evolution of Ryan and Michael just come to fruition in such a monumental way. And just the pride and how proud we are as a people in terms of what we've been able to accomplish. But not just the accomplishment, understanding what's behind the accomplishment, understanding the support behind the accomplishment. Yep. And what it means going forward. What's the path mean? Do we actually get a chance to, lay down a little asphalt on the path that we've been walking through, really like cutting through, the forest? Do we fall now? What does that look like? And so, of course, every time we have a win, it does pave the way a little bit. And we'll take it. We'll certainly take it. But we'll certainly first take a moment to reflect and pay our respects and just congratulate, because it was well done.
Well done, well deserved, man. Them brothers gonna get them brothers were clean too. So I love the way the family looked, the cast looked. My boy Delroy, he was looking clean.
Yes, the fashions were everything. Because I was here for the fashions.
Oh, I seen them. I caught the little clip. I got them brothers, everybody clean. love that shit. I love that. So shout out to y'all. We will be there one year. Me and Faye will be at the Oscars one year. We will be there with our brands. We putting it out there now, and it's on this podcast first. You heard it here. And let me give this queen the proper introduction she deserves, y'all. Let's get to it.
Let's start the show.
Let's get into it. So first time listeners, this is More Than a Title. I'm your host, Jared. This is where we keep it real. We talk about the story behind the title, who you are as a person, what did you persevere through, all the obstacles that you faced, right, to still become him or her. And that's what this is about. And this month, we're celebrating some of the strongest women that I've encountered, and we're going to celebrate our people. So welcome to the show. For everybody who's back here, y'all know what time it is. Let's get into it. This queen right here is the founder of Pure Genesis LLC, a multi-site operator in the cannabis industry, where she's not only leading growth, but championing education, equity, and community impact. She's been at the forefront of shaping policy, serving on the New Jersey Governor's Council for adult use legalization, and continue to push the culture forward through her work through organizations like the African American Chamber of Commerce for New Jersey, National Hemp Association, and the Cannabis World Congress Business Expo. She's also the first female Black graduate from the School of Industrial Engineering at West Virginia University, holds an MBA from St. Joseph's University with an education from Harvard Business School. She also worked with some of the biggest brands before starting her brand with Kraft, General Foods, Campbell Soup, driving large-scale operations with Home Depot, Target, and CVS. You guys have seen her in the boardrooms. You guys have seen her stage. You've seen her all these places, y'all. Wait, was I on mute?
For a second.
Oh, for a second, I'm like, hold on, I just saw it on mute for a second. I'm like, that was so good.
Literally 1 second. Literally 1 second.
All right, cool, sis. I appreciate you. But let's introduce. You've seen her in the boardroom. You've seen her in Cannes. You see her in the magazines. You're going to see her on your shelves. And we're going to have you, you're going to order this. You're going to see her in your home. Let's introduce our sister, founder of Pure Genesis, Faye Coleman. Y'all, let's get it.
Thank you. So appreciate the opportunity to be here and connect with your listeners today. I am just over the moon with gratitude. Thank you.
Likewise. So for the listener, I will tell you how we first met. Y'all was actually in Cannes. So it was through our mutual friends. Shout out to the whole Sisters in Sales movement. Shout out to our friends, our peoples. And we just connected out there. And then she had one of those panels where I was just listening because y'all know how I be. When they ain't, you got cannabis. I'm what? Inkwell? Yeah. Who got it? Y'all know how I be. I keeps it real. So I've seen that now. Just listened to her panel and was listening to the business aspect and everything she was doing, what she was creating for the community. I'm like, we got to have her on. And here we are. So I thank you and I appreciate you, sis. And I'm excited.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Likewise, Queen. I love it. So let's start from the beginning because I want the listeners to, get to understand the mindset, what you've been through, some of the things. So tell us early days growing up, but what was some of your early influences?
Well, early influencers. I can say I have been wanting to step onto the entrepreneurial path for a long time. I won't say my age now. Don't go there, but a long time. I could say this, you talk about, early days. What does that look like? I think, corporate leadership development plays a significant role in terms of my contribution and my growth as a leader. My background, as you just alluded to earlier, has given me an opportunity to kind of look at myself differently and say, you may be able to do more than just what you're doing on that corporate path. I've been fortunate to be successful in those roles. But once my kids graduated, it was my turn. And it was my turn. But before I stepped out on faith, I had to make certain, that whatever I did, I had to reflect and look at it and say, okay, do I have a passion for what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
Am I educated? Do I need to educate myself? Do I have a business plan? What's my long-term strategy? Who's going to be my team? Do I need a team? And then most important, do I got the money?
Message.
That'd be the real $1 million question.
Do I have the money, right? Do I have the money? Like, what's that look like? And so you got to look at those things, including, got a CPA, do you have an attorney, all the things.
Yeah.
But, for me, where does it start? I'll take a step back. So when I was young, actually in my teens, my mother had breast cancer.
Oh no.
And I saw her lose 70 pounds on a 5-foot frame. I saw her skin turn coal black and her mental acuity greatly diminished. Had
Wow.
she just been able to consume cannabis to maintain her appetite during her chemo and radiation, she'd have had a healthier recovery, right? So
Mm.
fast forward, the last 17 weeks of her life, she spent in surgical ICU. And a week after she passed, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Wow.
And the first thing that came to my mind, Jared, was cannabis as an alternative medicine. And
Wow.
now I am 17 years cancer free.
Yeah, there you go. Wait, hold on. We ain't gonna gloss over that. We ain't gonna gloss over that, man. That's a clap on horn, everything.
I'm 17 years cancer free. But when I finally was able to step out on faith, I flew myself to Colorado, to Denver, to go to a cannabis conference. And I said, okay, Jared, I'm going to see, is this something I'm going to be able to do, thrive in, or do I need to get my butt back to Jersey and get back to work and forget I even thought about it?
Hmm.
Got out there, saw a bunch of folks in the space that looked like me, and we're in corporate America. So I said, all right, let's get back and roll with it. And today we've got 5 businesses. We have licenses in 3 states. We have a trademark workshop called Now You Know, where we train at-risk youth, ages 13 to 22, on the history, the plant, the medicinal aspects, and the business of cannabis.
Hmm.
We've grown hemp now in 3 states, that being New Jersey, Pennsylvania, South Carolina. We have a small farm in Senegal, and we just launched our beverage Genesis last year in partnership with Whoopi Goldberg. So
Woo! Woo! You said it so it was so professional, it was so polished, and it was so flexed. I love it. You got a
I
lot
saw
of
that corporate honing. Okay, Jared. I was like, after a while, it sinks in.
that leadership. I love it, sis. But I do, before we get into the business, because I do want to talk about how you scaled it, how you built those relationships, right? Talk about like how'd you even get into corporate, right? What was life like? Mama love, pops, you know what I mean? Those influences, were you only child, like, you know what I mean? How'd you get into this stuff?
Well, I actually am an only child.
Really?
Believe it or
Okay.
believe it or not. And my mother, who was an educator, had told me that, your path is going to be through education.
Mm.
We grew up modest means.
Yeah.
And she said, your path forward is going to be education. So once you get out of high school, college, you're college bound, and then you're going to have an amazing career. And so I looked at her North Star, and her North Star was mine.
Mm.
And I did just that. And so I went to WVU. And it's interesting because I went to West Virginia with no scholarship. And meanwhile, I had a scholarship to Pitt, the Carnegie Mellon, and Brown. And I chose West Virginia. Why?
Mm.
Because a man named Mr. Belmere, who was on campus to help Black students transition into college, came and sat down in my mother's living room and said, I will take care of your child if she comes to our school.
Mm.
And that sold us. And it was a wonderful experience.
Wow.
Great experience. I have no regrets.
And,
And that was the start of me moving myself forward and here today.
and that's a big jump right there. So you go to West Virginia University. What are you majoring in? Like what was that?
Majored in industrial engineering. And I did that. Why? Because in high school, a group of engineers came to our school to talk about engineering.
Access.
So access, right?
Yep.
And that's why the mission of our business is education, access, and advocacy,
Mm.
because access gives us agency.
Mm.
And we don't think about that enough because we don't get it enough. And so what are those barriers that we have to break down to make certain we provide that access? So it really was about access.
Mm. And then how, and that's what you were doing in corporate America when you were working with the major brands?
So I started out as an industrial engineer, and then I did some packaging engineering, I did some facility design, I did product development, I did a number of things. I wore a lot of hats. And then, yeah, I wore a lot of hats. And then I left engineering in the food industry, went into retail, into Home Depot, Target, and CVS. So think field leadership. So I had a group position, which just says a broader role where I was responsible for, say, 60 targets, all of New Jersey, Delaware, and Eastern Pennsylvania, and responsible for store operations. So, that means, 10,000 associates, 22 direct reports. It's significant. $3 billion portfolio.
Ooh-wee. And I don't see a grace since I love it. Like, that's stressful.
Listen,
That sounds stressful.
this is bottle brown, Jared.
I ain't mad at it. But that's a lot. That is a lot of pressure, right? So, first of all, what does good leadership look like to you, right? What is your leadership style? What advice would you give to other people who are in a leadership role?
Well, I think as a good leader, you have to have the right culture in your business, right? I think you have to have a culture that is accountable.
Yeah.
It is, in terms of making certain you have the right team, the right people, the right time, the right tools. You've got, of course, the responsibility for recognition as well as development and feedback for improvement. But then you also have, inclusion. Do you respect your team?
Yeah.
Is that culture such that you feel that respect when you walk through the door? We all know it, especially as Black people, where we have not felt that, right? And so inclusion is very important. And then you have development. If you're not growing where you are, you're in the wrong place.
Message.
And so you really have to understand, time is the only commodity you can't get more of.
Yeah.
So you can't waste it. So that's something you have to really understand. I tell people I don't have life. I don't even use the word time anymore. I tell people I don't have life for it because right now I'm choosing to share my life in that moment, in these moments. And is that a good use of my life? Once that part of it's gone, it's gone.
That's I've never heard. I don't have life. I don't have life for it. Yeah, I promise you, I'm using it. I can't. I can't wait till somebody asks me. Not this week. But I have to. That's real though. So all right. So what is? I am curious. Like what is one of the biggest obstacles you face as far as a corporate leader, right? Us climbing up the ladder as a Black woman. Like what are some of the obstacles that you faced?
I faced many in corporate. I faced all the ones that you can imagine. Of
Absolutely.
course,
Yep.
of course, gender bias, race bias, and baiting, all the things, right? I faced being the youngest. I faced being the only. I faced being the best and being centered out for being the best as if it's a bad thing. Come back to that. And then so what it did though is it gave me great transferable leadership skills to come in as an entrepreneur, right? And hit the ground running. And so as you transfer those skills, what's the most challenging thing that happens from an entrepreneur? Capital, right? And what bears it out is women entrepreneurs, sad to say, only get 2% of capital for businesses.
Absolutely.
This is criminal.
That's an actual fact. Actual fact.
Actual fact, and the piece to it is women entrepreneurs are bankable. This is Women's History Month, so I gotta say something about women in history. If I would be
about. It's your platform. Let's do it.
If I didn't. So there have been many brave, risk-taking necessity entrepreneurs in history. So I'm gonna go back. 1850, Clara Brown established a laundry business during the gold rush. And she used her money to invest in real estate so that people that could move into a Black community and live safely, believe it or not. You
Wow.
got Annie Turnbow Malone. She paved the way for Black female cosmetologists. She had jobs for over 75,000 women, 75,000 women worldwide in terms of her beauty enterprise. And then you've got Maggie Lena Walker, who was the first Black woman to charter a bank,
Wow.
help our people, protect our money. The list
Mm.
goes on. So the data supports,
Ooh,
right?
second period, y'all. Come
Listen,
on.
the data supports the value of Black women entrepreneurs and leaders, but it doesn't really translate to support, in large part because investors, here we go, and banks still have a challenge with understanding the value of diversity, right?
Yeah.
Or more specifically, Black women. I said it before in a few other times that I've spoken it, but it does bear repeating. The stain on the cannabis industry, or most industries, is the lack of intentional investment in Black owned, women owned, and Black women owned businesses that are eager, ready, and prepared to enter industries. So, what does that look like? Today, you've got 14 million women owned businesses, 2.7 trillion in annual revenue,
Mm.
creating more than 1,800 new businesses a day. And Black women owned businesses represent the highest growth rate of any group. And interestingly enough, women owned businesses earn 2% more, 10% more revenue than men.
Mm.
So,
Facts, facts,
again,
y'all. To the fact. But as you were saying that though, you know what I was thinking? It's sad, and I'm gonna just keep it all the way real with you. I never heard of any three of those ladies.
you know what?
I
It
haven't.
was sad. I hadn't either until I did some homework.
Yeah. You don't know what to look for. You don't know what, like, how would you know?
How
So
we know? It's no history book. It ain't
yeah.
a history book. I had to go search for it.
Damn. So that's why media is so important, y'all.
That's why media
This
is so
this
important.
is why we have to control our narratives. Like I
Yeah.
learned something. If y'all heard of them, put them in the chat. If you didn't, put it in the chat. Like I want to know. Y'all heard of them stories? Because that's real. Why is there no movie on that, right? Because why? Same thing as the Black business, right? They're not going to put in that capital to fund that story and tell that narrative.
That's right. That's
So it's
right.
hard. Like, so you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And then just like the entrepreneur, now I have to bootstrap this thing. And then it depends on where you are in that station of life.
That's right.
It just depends. You could be up, you could be down. If you don't have any support system, it's game over, and you
It
got to
is.
call it quits. And that's happens to too many Black businesses, especially one. That shit is sad. Like how did you so when you started the business, right? You went to Denver. What was your thought? What was step one of your business? Like you was like, I want to be in the cannabis industry, but what particularly did you want to do? Did you have an idea, or what led you to what you do now?
Yes. So we had we had a lot of ideas. And so when I came back immediately during that time, we wanted to apply for a license. And
Okay.
so we quickly got our wings clipped, Jared, because came back, we did the application, we were going to submit it, and then our investor decided that they were going to try to trick us and steal our business.
Well, how? All right. All right.
Because
Let's slow down on that. Let's slow down. First of all, because most people, I know a lot of people that want to open up cannabis businesses, and where most people fail is the process, the application part, all of those things, right? What is that process? Can you just like enlighten the listeners? And then I would love to hear that story too.
well, okay, so then you had to apply online, and you actually had to actually drop off a copy of your application at the state. But today, everything is online, very different process. Then you had to win a license. Now you can apply, and it's a rolling calendar. If you meet all the criteria, you will get a license. So very different today than it was back then. What
Got
is the same is investors coming to the table to partner with you. You have to make certain that you vet who's coming to the table to provide funding for your business, because sometimes they're just bad actors.
it.
And so you got to look and find those bad actors. And so when we discovered that our bad actor did not want to sign our agreement for the business, and they wanted to run the clock out on us, in fact, they saw Black females as desperate women versus sharp, Black, educated women that came to the table and know their worth. We had to teach him a lesson. So instead of us applying and him taking our business, we made sure not only were we not going to apply, but we made certain that he couldn't actually shift gears and apply with someone else. So we waited till the day that the application was due to tell him that we were not applying, so he couldn't pivot to another business.
Woo.
So, sometimes you got to, when somebody's teaching you a lesson, be careful, because somebody could teach you a lesson back.
Savage! I'm a savage!
So it was a lesson at the time. Of course, it was a challenge for us. It was a setback for us, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
Setback, get ready for a comeback. That's all.
That's
And
all.
so, but yeah, you've had many people who have been, who weren't so fortunate, and they bought into what that investor was selling, and they got duped. And it is very much unfortunate. It's happened many times. Today, we try to speak on it whenever we can. I speak many times in the industry, and always, say that you got to check your sources.
Absolutely.
Get some folks that are vetted.
It's tough though when you got the dream and you need the money and the money's right there.
It is tough. And we started with friends and family. So we started with our friends and family.
Yeah.
And valuations, and I've done probably a couple hundred pitches. Jared, I could probably do my entire pitch without seeing one slide, and I can tell you what's on every single slide, because I know my business. I know what that messaging needs to look like, and I always tell people, stay ready. Stay ready. So when somebody asks you the question, what do you do? What are you looking for? You really do need to have those 30 seconds down.
That's right.
At any given time. People are like, elevator, elevator, elevator. I'm like, listen, the folks with the money are going to be the ones in the elevator that say, well, what do you do? You sitting up there fumbling. You better be ready. Look somebody in the face and tell them what you do, what you're looking for. Right?
That's real. But
that's the real question.
That's really ill.
You in the business or not?
Nobody thinks about it. I'm a salesperson. So, I got to practice my elevator pitch. I have to do all of that before. You got a big presentation the day before. I know when I'm going to say a joke, when not to, when to pivot. Like, I really overthink like that. Most people are not, especially if you don't even come from sales.
Especially if you don't even come from sales. And I think, again, going back to my corporate rearing, coming through retail, right? It hones you from a sales mindset, right? You look at things a little differently.
Absolutely.
A lot differently. I mean, then the engineering side, right? I shifted over to operations, but very much that was based on sales revenue. So it's like, okay, like get on board, figure this out. So it taught me a lot and honed a lot of different skill sets that I did not have before. But I always tell people there's 3 different mindsets, right? There's a surviving mindset, there is a thriving mindset, and there's a building and winning mindset. You better get on board with the builders and the winners.
Message.
Come on. But shifting that mindset. So first of all, even get to that mindset, you already had to know you dealt with something emotional. You got the investor. That's something that could have left a bad taste in you and your partners and be like, oh, we're gonna stop doing this, we're gonna pivot. Anything, you could have did anything, right? So from that moment on, what was step 1 and what was the toughest challenge from that point?
So what we did was I stepped back and I looked at the business and said, okay, right now this business is predicated on winning something. I said, we can't move forward in the business winning something. So I said, we're going to pivot. And we pivoted and we turned our attention to hemp. And so the first thing we did was we looked at hemp and we looked at education. So we developed our Now You Know workshop, which is trademarked, and to really educate the masses, because we found out during that time that most of our people were not educated on cannabis.
Absolutely.
And so they didn't understand the medicinal aspects of it. They didn't understand just even the recreational aspects of it. And so that was important. And we share with people, the history, the plant. We tell people one of the first plants when we stepped off the boat as enslaved was growing cannabis.
Yeah,
Most folks don't know it. They think it was all cotton. Like, no, we were growing cannabis. A lot of it was cannabis. Hemp, industrial hemp, when we grew that for purposes of sails and rope during the American Revolution, was all about making certain that ships were outfitted accordingly. And so industrial hemp was so hard to grow, Jared, they used to call it the nigger crop.
Oh no. Yeah, you school. Wait, hold on. There's another bell. We on period 3 now. We going history. We went from economics to history. Let's do
it. Because hemp, and it still is considered a $1 billion crop now. Today, probably more of a $1 trillion crop. But you got to really understand your history so you can bring yourself forward, get educated on the potential value of what you are looking at. Do you know this industry? You got to get educated on it a real way if you're going to participate in it and be an entrepreneur and be a part of it. So then from there, we went into actually growing hemp, and we grew hemp in 3 states. And the challenging part of that was, and you're going to laugh at this. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be funny.
I'm already shocked. Like, damn.
Wasn't funny at the time, but I'm going to tell you something funny. So we grew hemp in 3 states. And so we were growing about 25 acres on one farm. And a hurricane came through and wiped it out. Now, we had insurance. But you know what the name of the hurricane was?
No. It's going to be Hurricane Faye?
Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
That was truly God saying, enough growing hemp. Okay. So, and it was actually during a time where the value of hemp was going down sharply. So we needed to get out of it anyway. So what did we do? We pivoted because we understood if now you can grow hemp and basically it's almost free because you no longer can make that much. We decided to develop a product using hemp. And that's where Genesis was born.
And Genesis got me a little buzzed. I ain't gonna Genesis got me buzzed out here. I'm sitting there like, what?
And that's where Genesis was born. And that's why we call it the future of happy hour, Jared.
Yo,
just so
that's
you know.
right. I approve this message.
Cheers.
Sis, cheers. That is really good though. I really like it.
Thank you. And so, of course, we launched that last year in partnership with Whoopi. And at the same time, we were still moving forward because now we have 3 licenses, right, in 3 different states. So right now we're looking to open up a dispensary and consumption lounge in Atlantic City.
Ooh.
Okay. So as we're doing that, one thing is becoming very clear, how challenging it is to get capital at that level for Black women-owned businesses. But we stayed the course. We got some great opportunities coming. Probably in the next month and a half, we should be able to close on some funding. But the interesting part is in Atlantic City, okay, we bought a church.
I didn't say nothing yet.
Okay, listen. I know I ain't say nothing yet. Listen, my people, we bought a church that was slated for demolition. Okay, so when we bought it, we were coming back one day from Atlantic City, and I get a text from the Smithsonian, and I'm like, "Why is the Smithsonian reaching out?" So come to find out, our stone matched the stone of the Smithsonian Castle, which was damaged in the '08 earthquake. And they've been looking for the same stone since then so they could open it back up. So somebody told them that we were demoing our church, which, by the way, if you watch Boardwalk Empire,
Yeah.
Nucky Johnson
Mhm.
got married in that church.
No.
Okay. So
No, wow, what?
stop. I kid you not. So they're like, hey, we understand you're tearing down your church. We like your stone. I'm like, what? So we ended up giving them 700,000 pounds of stone that we took off of the church, one stone at a time, because they needed the stone intact for the Smithsonian Castle. So they have 700,000 pounds of stone, 16 truckloads, tractor trailer truckloads of stone that we sent down to DC. So we did our part for the government.
Crazy.
And I'll give you, I'll tell you one story beyond that.
All right.
Now, so I asked the exec director of Smithsonian Design and Construction, is a brother. So I asked him, I said, well, can you tell us if the Smithsonian Castle was actually built by enslaved? He says, I can't find any records on it. I said, wow, that's crazy. So I said, okay, I'm good for going down the rabbit hole every now and then. So I said, all right, let me try to track where this stone came from. So I tracked it back to the quarry. Come to find out, that quarry back then in 1800s had in the enslaved actually making the stone. And the person who owned the quarry was the grandson of Martha Washington.
Wow. That is crazy.
How's that for a right and a left turn?
Like you got some stuff. Right? Like, so I did want to know though, because I do want to go back into like how do you guys even get the church and stuff like that? Because once again, we was at like where
Yes,
we were looking for capital, things like that, right? Like
so
you got 25 acres. How did we get to 25 acres?
Okay, so we met someone who introduced us, and they had a farm, black farmer, black farm. So we partnered up, right? And then, so the church, after COVID, right? I told my business partner, I said, we're going out to look for property now for a dispensary. They were like, this is early. What do you mean? I said, no, we need to go now. So we said either we were going to go to Camden, New Jersey, or we were going to go to Atlantic City. Why? Because we felt we could have the most impact in terms of jobs. 20% of our jobs are going to go to those through reentry programs, offering significantly more than a living wage, and then providing scholarships and internships utilizing Stockton, which is in Atlantic City. So that was our focus, because for us, it's about being a community first partner. So we go down to Atlantic City, and the first building I see is the church. And I look and I say, Jared, look, I said, is that church for sale? And across the street is what? The Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Yeah, I know, that's my spot. That's how I'll be in there. I get all my free rewards. I'll be in there 3 hotels. What, I'm Monday to Sunday.
Okay.
I keeps it real.
I can't. So I'm looking, I'm like, how can this church be for sale? It's right across the street from the Hard Rock. So my team jumps out. We had our real estate broker with us. We jump out and they start, calling to find out, is this church for sale? Turns out it was. Then the pastor rolls up. He's like, what are y'all doing on my property? We said, Pastor, we're looking to buy it. I said, but it's going to be a cannabis dispensary. Would you mind? He said, I've been trying to sell this church for 15 years.
What?
I said, Pastor, if you will allow us, I promise you, I'll buy it. And 9 months later, we purchased the church. And the icing on the cake, was that we beat out the owner of the Hard Rock for the property.
What? Like, you put in the offer, like, right? But you have the relationship already.
We had the relationship. Well,
Yeah.
before we got the relationship with the Hard Rock, we didn't know we had a relationship with the Hard Rock. And so when we beat him out, he got invited for a meeting. So he said, I had to see who beat me out for the property right across the street from me. So I looked at him and I said, you look familiar. He said, you look familiar too. Come to find out, I'm on the board of the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey. He's a platinum member. We actually do meetings on his property because he has a big sprawling ranch in Central Jersey. And he goes, oh my gosh, he goes, this is great. Now we're going to be fast friends. He says, now I'm excited because I know who's going to be across the street. And then now we're starting to talk strategy on maybe some business opportunities we can do together. So that has been absolutely, I said, you were going to buy the property? He says, yeah, I was going to buy it. I said, well, what were you going to do with it? He said, give it to one of my friends so they could develop it into a cannabis dispensary.
What?
Of all things. Yes, of all things. So it was serendipitous for sure. And he, he's been nothing but a great friend. He was like, listen, if you need me for anything, let me know. And he has been. A couple times I've had a knock and he was like, what do you need?
No, that's real.
Yes.
So, but the way I'm looking at when you buy the church, right? I'm looking at it like a storage. I love storage wars. So if you bought a locker and there was some gold in, like, because I'm thinking Smithsonian, right? Was that you don't got to tell me the price or anything like that, but you're charging them for the stone.
Possibly.
Oh, there you go. And you chop for that's like, I love it. I love it.
I mean, really, the pastor blessed that church when we paid for it. And it's been blessing us back ever since. We even had one point, the Vatican was looking at buying the stained glass from us.
The Vatican.
The Vatican. Yeah, the only reason they couldn't is because they were shutting down so many churches in the U.S. They couldn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but they were interested.
And this is the first property that you guys are opening up in New Jersey. And I'll throw to something else too before we get off Atlantic City. But why did you choose the states that you're operating in? Like, why did you choose 3 markets instead of going hard in one market?
Actually, we chose 5 markets. Our goal is to have 5 licenses in 5 states by 2027. So we got 3. And the reason that we wanted to do it within the Northeast is, of course, you want to have economies of scale being centrally located. So once we become federally legal, right, then you've got interstate commerce and the like. So for us, it really is about that type of strategy. Remember, I come from retail. I come from multi-unit, multi-state operations. I know this business model. So, for us, it was about being strategic.
I love it. All right, I want to be down. How can I support me? I got connections.
We can talk afterwards. We can talk afterwards, or we can talk back in can. Like, well, listen.
we connected now. I do. So what is one thing? Because you already shared so many dope stories. Like, what's one thing that you did that you couldn't believe you guys accomplished? What's one thing, especially with this journey? What's one thing that you look back? I call it the mama I made it moment. So I would love to know, like, one of those moments, especially for you, looking back, like, damn, especially like mama would be so proud.
My mom would be so proud by the fact that I had the courage to even start this business, start down this path.
Message.
Because, again, we come from humble beginnings. And, my mother was like, she had instilled such a presence of confidence in me that I could do anything. And it still took me some time to believe it. But once I did, I never looked back. And I instill it in my children every day. They're both in their 20s. They both graduated from college. They're both productive, doing their thing. But that's a gift. And I think that, people talk about the tangibles. Intangibles is what helps you get through life, because life is a challenge. Life is tough. Sometimes it will kick you in the teeth. But you have to have the confidence, the presence, and the faith and the fortitude to move yourself forward. And I think that was the biggest gift she gave me. And so as I look at this business and moving forward, man, there were so many challenges, whether it's bad actors or just setbacks or funding just falling through or, your real estate, things being discovered on it that weren't on there before that now you have to deal with, or you have potential partnerships that people that come towards you that, lack integrity or not going to do what they say they're going to do, or, all those things. I always come back to the biggest thing you can understand how to do in this industry is pivot. And that's the one thing I've consistently shared with you guys
Yeah,
today
absolutely.
is every single time we were able to pivot, because it's the difference between your business moving forward and closing.
Message.
It doesn't get realer than that. It doesn't
Yes.
get realer than that. And
Yes.
you definitely shared a lot of pivots, but even like when do you
Capital is a gladiator sport. Capital is a gladiator sport.
Absolutely.
Gladiator sport.
You gotta be Maximus.
You have to be. The goal is to get the most for the least. Your job is to negotiate the best deal. And if you can't do that, who are you gonna get to do it?
But what are some negotiation advice or tactics would you give to somebody that's in that? Because that's something like a lot of us that are not in sales that have our own business, we don't know. Sometimes we just want to make the deal happen, but not necessarily protecting ourselves. So what advice would you give to somebody?
Find a broker. Find a financial broker, somebody who's going to help you raise money. Because if that's not in your wheelhouse, I tell people, if you haven't figured out how to become a subject matter expert in raising money, leave it to someone who is.
That's real. That's
listen, you're out there. Pardon me. Now, you may have to pay a little bit, but you might pay a lot more if you go about it in the wrong manner.
That's
and you gotta. Capital is an interesting animal. I think it's the most worked muscle in terms of figuring out how to continue to raise. We've raised a few $1 million just through friends and family.
Message.
Just through friends and family. And so now as we go for that Series A,
that's what it is.
It's like real talk. It's like big girl pants on. But my team is up for it. I'm up for it. We have a few brokers. We got more than one broker.
Got a couple of you get me excited. I'm ready to sell some shit. You got me ready to get in a room with a person with a checkbook.
That's right. I mean, listen, what did they say? What did I hear one time? I think it was from Shark Tank. The dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately.
That's what we say at the end every show. And it's so funny you say that. What's the odds of that? Like, yeah, it's just a lot. So I could only imagine. So like what I'm big on affirmations. I do want to know, is this particular part of you're very strategic. I love to say, because when it happens, it'll be like, it happened here. You said it here and it happened. So is there any particular partner or somebody that's ideal for you that you want to? Maybe they come across this, and why?
I can't, because we actually are in the midst of something right now. We can't talk about it.
I'm at it. Well, if there's any way we can help, we got you. But I do want to know how we got to the actual product too, right? Like, so this is really good from the packaging, design, everything is meticulous. Like, I love it. So how do we get to this? How do we get to how long did it take?
So it's interesting because when Whoopi Goldberg was introduced to us, it's called Staying Ready So You Don't Have to Get Ready. So for us, it was about showing up for her as the business professionals that we are. And she wanted to work with a group of Black women who were in New Jersey. She liked that we were doing a project in Atlantic City because she loves Atlantic City. And Whoopi lives in New Jersey. And so we were ready. So she came on board as a part of our dispensary. And then she heard we were doing our beverage. And we were about to start the development or the formulation of our product. And she said, wait a minute, I understand you guys are developing a beverage. Like, where's my flavor? And it kind of blew our hair back. And we were like, we didn't realize, Whoopi, that you wanted one. So,
Wow.
So being as though I come from the food industry and from retail, we were able to get a product, and half my team is from retail. That part. We were able to get our product from concept to shelf in 60 days.
In 60, what? How the hell do you research development, market testing, like all of that
All
stuff?
the things.
All of that in 60 days?
60 days.
And does it take a certain like approval because it's THC, stuff like that? Is that a different process than a regular beverage drink that you go to market with?
It's different process because it's hemp derived.
Okay.
But you still have to find, you got to find all of your partners in that supply chain, right?
Yep.
So who's your co-packer? Who's your formulator? Who's your can manufacturer? Who's your graphic design artist? Who is going to be your processor for your hemp-derived THC? How are you pushing this out into the market? Who's your distributor? Who's going to be your marketing team? How are you going to set up your social media? Where's your website at? Are you doing online? Are you set up for online ordering? So all those things had to be set up before we launched. And we did that within a 60-day window.
Oof. And when was launch day? If you don't mind me, was it this year or last year?
Well, last year. It was mid-year last year. And so in this year, we're in the midst of, we brought on a new marketing team. And so we're rebranding as we speak. And you're going to see something new before 420.
I love it.
Stay tuned.
I love it. I come up with an idea. I'm going to just text it to you. Like, yo, y'all just thought of this. I was drinking the beverage. I got it.
Yes. So we've got 2 SKUs right now. So we have our Whoop Tea, which is an Arnold Palmer, 10 milligrams THC, hemp derived. And then we've got our Euphoria, which is a pina colada with a champagne overlay, lightly carbonated, 10 milligrams THC as well. So they say the Euphoria tastes like summer, and the Whoop Tea that you can drink anytime.
So this is the Whoopi one. The Whoop Tea is what I'm drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Whoopi, you got it.
And this is her favorite. Her favorite drink is an Arnold Palmer. So that's why it's called Whoop Tea.
You got a banger with this one. So I like so are you? So I'll tell you a story. I actually interviewed James Lindsay. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Do you know him?
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
So I cold outreached him when I first started partying like 5 years ago. He's actually, if you see, he's on the intro. He's on the intro. So he's the CEO of Rap Snacks. He basically said he came up with an idea. He was walking past the club. He saw all the posters on the wall. He was like, look, he just went into Universal Records, was like, yo, you're spending how much money you're spending on this promotion and all this stuff, and just having something you can't even attribution with this. You don't know who's looking at it, how it's deriving the sales and all that stuff. Let me put your artist on the actual product, and came up with the Rap Snacks. And so I'm curious, when you thought about something like that, you already have the Whoop-Dee. Are you trying to license it out to other artists, other entertainers, different verticals? I'm with you. I see it. This thing is a rocket ship. I see it. I see it. This is
who's to say? Who's to say, Jared? Who's to say?
This is not. I can see it. I can see it. So definitely love what you guys are doing. And for 60 days, this is amazing.
Thank you very much.
And so
it came hard because myself, my business partner. I call her partner in crime. Her name is Priscilla Wynn. She's our co-founder of the business. Valerie, and I've got Doctor. I got a Dr. V also that's part of our team, and we just have a number of folks. We have someone who used to be the president of Verizon. That small company. We've got White House leadership. We've got military research scientists and the like. And the reason that we always say your team is your best asset and your best strategy. Choose wisely, right? And so, we put that team together not for startup, but for growth.
There you
If
go.
our goal is 5 licenses in 5 states by 2027, how are we going to get up and operate? We can't just do it myself and my business partner Priscilla. We can't do that just us. Listen, I can do a lot of things, but you can do more as a team.
As a team,
Mm-hmm.
how do you identifying the right team is a hard thing, right? So, what kind of qualities and traits do you look for in your team members? Like, what are the things that stand out to you?
Well, you have to have a team and understanding what you need for the business,
That's
right?
right.
And so I think a lot of times people want to bring on a team and say, "Oh, you're good at this, you're good at this," and everybody's good at the same thing. No, you really need a well-rounded team that actually brings all the skills, leadership, and experience to the table for the entire complement of the business at hand.
Yeah,
Else, what's the purpose? Like they said, all money ain't good money. And
that's a fact.
if you only got money, then for me, it's about the other intangibles that you bring to the table more so than just the money.
Right. But even just like you said, just identifying that, because the wrong hire could cost you way money, cost you so much money. You know what I mean? In terms of having to go back doing this, and you got to worry about NDAs, this, that. Oh, it's a lot of different moving pieces. But and when is the dispensary opening? Because I wanna be at the open. I want to be like this. I'm
The
coming through.
end of the year, it should open, and of course, you'll be invited.
I would love to
Absolutely.
be. I would love to be there. First of all, I get free room across the street, so I'll be at a table, and when you open, I'll be right there.
Of course, and you always talk. You asked me the question earlier in terms of our people. What are some of the things you want to leave people with in terms of what they think about as they look at the business? I always say, even more important than, of course you need to have the right team, but are you even asking yourself the right questions? And I think a lot of times people don't know, as they're thinking about being an entrepreneur, what should you be asking yourself? And I always ask people, why that business? And why you? What makes you right for the business? What makes you right for that business? What's your story? Where is the business going to be at? What region? What do you even understand the risk? Do you know what your projections are? Do you know your target market? All these things that come up, competitive advantage. Do you have an exit strategy? Nothing an investor loves more than an exit.
Absolutely.
Nothing more. Nothing more. Of course you talk about who's going to be on your team, but also what's the experience? You got to clock people on experience, because a lot of times folks will sell you anything. They'll be like, oh yeah, I'm great at this, that. When, where, with who? What was his level of success like? How can you prove that? What does your network look like?
What is your
Yeah. Right. I sit on 4 boards, not because I need something to do. I want a voice at the table.
Come on. Now I got to ask you doing a lot. How do you balance? It's a lot. I think I'm doing a lot. I'm like, sis, now I gotta step it up. I gotta get my shit together. I'm gonna call you. I keep it real, yo.
Listen.
How do you balance? For real.
I balance well. I mean, it's having the right team.
Having the right team.
And making certain that you put strategies together that make sense and that are executable. And I think a lot of times people do not put together strategies that are executable. It's like, it's one thing to have a great strategy and everybody's like, ooh. It's like, what's the tactics to get that done? Who's the team? What's the timing? What's the cost? What's the return? What's all those things? Have you really fleshed that all the way out?
Yeah.
Or are you saying like, we're going to go for it and see what happens? Normally that ends badly.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
I'm just saying. So, so for me, it becomes very much a matter of the team and our business model and our strategies, and making certain that we as a team buy into it, not just me, the team buys into it. We have investor calls twice a year. We have an investor meeting. We go through our entire business, all of our businesses, with our investors, including all of our financials. We run it like a business. This is a business. It's serious. It is serious. And so we are serious people, in having responsibility for a business that many have invested in. And we want to make certain that we receive what they have provided us with, that opportunity through that capital. And we don't intend to squander it, but we will be successful with it.
That's also a lot of pressure, though. How do you deal with that pressure of like, you get in the capital, I got to get the return, but I still want to test new ideas. I still want to hit new, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like making sure, how do you flesh out the idea to make sure your bet is almost solid, right? Like, you're very calculated, I can tell. Like, you ain't making a bet unless you got a good odd. That's why we go into the tables. I'm bringing you right to the tables.
Listen, you have to have confidence, but I always say you got to step out on faith. You get everything, in your mind. You're seeing things that you're seeing it in terms of, you can see yourself being successful with the path that you charted forward, but it's always going to come back to my faith. I know that I'm here for a reason. There is purpose in my path, and I'm not going it alone. I know my maker is right by me.
Sis, and then before we end it off, what does, at this point, what does happiness and success look like? Like, what does the mountaintop look like? There's no mountaintop. We keep on going, keep pushing. But what's one thing that you're really aiming for? What is, like, you'll look back and say, like, I can relax a little bit now? What does that look like? What's any milestone for you?
Our milestones are going to be, once we relaunch our beverage this year, it's going to be a big milestone. Once we add our third SKU, which will probably come with someone additionally, that'll be a milestone. And once we open up our dispensary, that'll be a milestone. So those will be, 3 milestones that we'll be looking forward to this year.
Love it. But I know I know a lot of people probably thinking it too. What does the collaboration look like between the Black community and the cannabis industry? Like, are we collaborating with each other? What does that look like? Because it's only probably, is there a lot of us? Is not a lot of us? Like, what's the biggest misconception?
I think by state that differs dramatically. I think there are, it feels like a lot of us, but not really a lot of us in New Jersey. But there's enough of us that we're all a very good, close community. I can reach out to anyone who looks like me, and folks will pick up the phone and be like, hey, how can I help? We want to see each other be successful. We want to understand how we can add value to each business. Whatever we can do to help that other person succeed, we're going to do it. And so the cannabis community is quite small. It's 2 degrees of separation at max. With us, within the community, 1 degree of separation. So we're very excited about helping each other, seeing each other succeed, supporting each other during their grand openings, and just helping resolve challenges when they come up. And there are many. And so it really is incumbent upon all of us as business leaders to help each other. Either we all rise, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So we got to make certain we are that tide.
Message.
I love it. I'm a shit when I become Shannon, I want a Jarrett tea or some shit like that. I want some shit. I want a flavor. I'll do it for the low, for the super low.
I can't.
But I want to say, yo, this episode, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's inspiring.
Thank you.
Everything, your story, the pivots, what you've endured, what you've encountered. Like, I don't know if anybody cannot hear this. There was mad comments on Instagram. I totally forgot Instagram was on. I'm sorry. I was so in the story. She dropped like boom, boom, boom. I couldn't do nothing. I'm sorry. You gotta go to YouTube. I can see it if you go to YouTube. I'm sorry. I tell you this every week. but like, yeah, it's just inspiring. And I just want to say, you know, me personally and everybody listening, I'm pretty sure the same thing. Like, just congratulations on all the success. I know I'm rooting for you. I want to see you win any way I can help. I would love to help. Our paths cross for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Everything happens for a reason. The fact that you're right there in AC in one of my favorite places, you know what I mean? I just would love to support. So just keep shining, keep winning, and keep, you know, I love everything that you represent, like straight up.
I appreciate that. Listen, you know, I always want to thank my business partner, Priscilla, but I also want to thank my children because Jade and Jordan, who are my biggest achievement in life, but they also help me with my business, even though they have their own careers. In my amazing marketing team, my PR team, my C-suite team, as well as my advisory boards, they are all super, super, super intelligent and giving. I want to thank Whoopi, you know, of course, because she's doing the thing. Those inside and outside that have had that have allowed us to have instrumental success, you know, in this business, you know, because, you know, what did Angela Bassett say at her award ceremony a couple of years ago? Not only we are enough, we're more than enough. And I think a lot of times we don't remember that. And I always want to make certain when people are giving thought to how challenging this business is, it's incredibly challenging. But we're more than enough and we can get it done.
You will, and you are getting it done, right? Like, so like I said, I don't know too many in the cannabis industry, but like I said, for you to be in can, for you to be doing what you're doing, for you to have the partners you have, for you to endure what you're doing, it takes a special mindset. Even you building the team, it takes a special mindset. You having to go through the things that you had to go through in your path, your business partner, both of those things aligning, you guys believing in each other, not allowing ego to get through, and all the stuff that happens on the process. And so I'm excited to see y'all climb, man. And where can they actually, you know, I'm going to put the link to the website, right? I'm going to make sure it's on this episode. If you guys want to make sure you purchase the beverage, it is lit. The whoop tea is what I'm drinking right now. You'll see it in the back. Came in a 4-pack. You know what I mean? Drinking like 8-pack. And you'll stay smacked.
Too much.
Too much. I'm gonna tweak it up. But
I love it.
But y'all heard her, y'all. You see her, CEO of Pure Genesis. She is out here trailblazing her team. She's out here making the sacrifice. She's a successful Black woman entrepreneur. Yes, they said, oh, you know what? In this vertical, you can't get capital. You ain't gonna be able to find, you know, investors and all that. You know what? Every obstacle she faced, she bow, get off me, and just accomplished it throughout everything. So that goes back to the monologue we said earlier. Dream big. She is the testament of this. She's proven it to y'all. She's successful. She's making it happen. Has products on shelf right now, dealing with some of the biggest names in the game. Like you see it. We met in France. Like, she is moving out here. She's doing it, y'all. So only way she continue to do it is with our support. Make sure you support this young lady wherever she's at, wherever she's speaking. Let's go. Let's do it. She's got the sauce. She's got the programs. You want to get educated. Make sure you support, y'all, because I know I am. You know what I mean? So we'll be there. And I just want to say thank you again, sis, for episode 274. Like, this was super dope.
You are quite welcome. Thank you so very much. Go to genesisinfused.com if you want to order online. We can ship it anywhere to you. And of course, always look us up on Instagram, you know, at Pure Genesis or Genesis Infused. So thank you so much again, Jared. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Nothing but love, y'all. You already know. Tomorrow we back, y'all. We doing 3 episodes every week for Women's History Month. I got Michelle Mitchell coming on tomorrow. She's been in business for 20 years, one of the lead consultants in the SaaS space. She's gonna give us game. So we're gonna keep going, y'all. But with that said, this is 274. My girl Faye Coleman, Pure Genesis, y'all. Check it out.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me?